Hello, everybody. This is Georgiana. Welcome back to Expressions Craft Studio. And today we are going to be working on this really cute little snowman globe shaker card. And this is one of Melody Lane's past projects, and I'm doing a series. So this is my first card technically in that series, Remembering Melody Lane. And originally this was her design. Um, I have made a few modifications, and I'm going to kind of go over that with you some. And I won't be able to share this file with you because it was Melody Lane's file, but you can still access it from her uh, Patreon groups, and I'll make sure to put that link in the comments below. Now, um, as I previously discussed, this series, Remembering Melody Lane, as any of you know or knew her or were familiar with her, you know she passed away a year ago. And she was somebody that I followed quite a lot for many years, and I learned a lot from her, and I'm hoping you will too, if that's your goal. And so, on with this card, the changes I made were one, the snowman. I felt like the snowman she was using had a lot more small parts. The hat had pom-poms and stuff glued onto it, blah, 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 blah. In the end, this one ended up having more parts than I would have liked, but it wasn't too bad to put together. Um, I did use the scarf, which you can see here. Let me blow that up from her a snowman. But the snowman I pulled was just this face here with the hat on it, and it is in Design Space. Let's go to Design Space and I will show you in images. And I just did a search for snowman. And you can see they have a lot here to choose from. But I scrolled down until I found one I liked. And I really liked this head. Now, that's not a whole snowman, you might be thinking. Well, you're right, it's not. But, I mean, what's a snowman consisted of? Just different shaped or sized snowballs. Large snowballs, but snowballs. So I went ahead and selected this one and added it to my mat. And there it is. Now I'm going to delete that because I just wanted you to see how I did that, but I worked with it from there. And actually what I did, I'll just go ahead and show you. I'm going to resize this a little bit, quite large. And so all I did was to make the body, I just added another shape. I just added a circle. How simple was that? So there's our circle. Now obviously it's gray. We don't want a gray snowball. That just looks nasty. So we're going to change the color. We'll go up here to this color box and we're going to select the same color that's already there. Now you can make it any color you want. Um, I will actually use white cardstock, um, but this is just so that it doesn't want to cut out on the same mats as some of my other stuff. So I'm going to send this to the back of the canvas because I want to get a better look at what the snowman will look like. Yeah, see how that's cute. Now you can adjust that up or down or side to side or however you want to do it, but I'm just kind of roughly centering it there. So that was the snowman I chose just because I thought it was cute. I like the hat, more traditional, kind of a frosty type snowman. I also didn't like the arms that were on hers, even though they're very similar. Um, these kind of were a little thinner. You might want to do an outline on them. Let's see if I can just select one of them here. Let's see here, offset. And you'd want to make that a really small offset. Or maybe even smaller than that. Well, let's hit apply and see what it does. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't want it quite that small. Let's go 5. And that just would give you a thicker piece of cardstock to work with. Now, I did okay with it, and I'll show you. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to change my file right now. I copied the scarf from hers, from her snowman, and I left off. There's actually some berries on this hat. Let's see if I can find them. Um, I might have deleted them, There were some little red berries that, oh no, there they are, that came with the hat. There they go. Let me zoom that way in so you can see them. I actually did not cut those out. I felt like those were way too small. I didn't want to be looking for those little bitty pieces, and I don't think the hat really needs it. Now, if you're cutting bigger snowmen, you might want to cut them out, but this guy was so small, I didn't want to hassle with that itty bitty little piece. So let's go back over here and hide that again. And let's shrink our back down. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this new snowman because we don't need it anymore. So that was some of the changes I made. Some of the other changes I made, her original file was from years past, so I changed the year. And to do that, you just go in and you find the year, and you may need to ungroup it to do this, but you just go in and nope, it'll let you, and then you just type what you want it to say. I think, oh no, I think hers was 2017. Could have been 29, I'm not sure. But I'm making these for the Christmas Cheer project, um, for the Angel Card project this year, so I'm using 2023. So I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. I'm just going to hit escape on there. That doesn't make any changes. Now these gray pieces that she has in her original file, these were for acetate, and she had some pre-printed acetate, which was really nice. I didn't have any pre-printed acetate, so I actually created a snowflake file, ran it through my laser printer on some old copier transparencies that I had, and then I foiled it. And it worked really well, actually, except I think I made the snowflakes too big. Um, so that is an option. Or I tried stamping on it so I could emboss it, but I needed to use some kind of stamping platform because when I laid my stamp on the transparency, after applying the Versamark to the stamp just kind of slid across the transparency. So you don't want that because that's just going to give you a mess when you go to emboss it. So you'll want to use something to keep your stamp from sliding around on the transparency. But that's what these gray pieces are. These gray pieces are just the transparency. Now I actually didn't use two of them on the card that I made. I only used one, and that's the front one that holds in the glitter or shaker bits. Um, if you want to use two, but I just didn't feel the need. This blue piece up here, this was her background piece, and you can certainly use whatever you want for the background. If you've got, I'm going to show you in this one that I'm making now, I'm going to use some cardstock that I've already got that's from a previous project. I think it was maybe even week one's project. It's a cardstock pack, a notebook, whatever you call those, pad. It's a pad. I'm sorry, words. Um, so I'm just going to go back to that pad because I had two of them and I still haven't finished up the first one. And I'm going to use some scraps from there to create backgrounds. Um, And then, of course, we've got these pieces here, which she used to layer so that you get enough depth for your sparkly bits or your, what do you call it, your shaker bits. Um, I haven't put it together yet. The first one I did cut out cardstock and I used too thin a cardstock. You're going to want to use something thicker just so you don't have to have so many of these. But then I got smart and I have some foam, craft foam that a friend gave me. Thank you so much, Miss Bonnie. And I actually put this on my Cricut Maker 3 and got some nice cuts. So I don't have to glue a bunch of cardstock pieces together now like she did. I'm just going to use the craft foam. And one layer, that's probably any, but you could certainly use two if you want to. Um, the other thing she has going here is the front and the back of the card. Now I flipped these, um, kind of mirrored these and flipped them so that I could get more on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, which is why they look like this. But this would be the back of the card, and this fold line here is just, you're going to put glue above here, and that glue is going to hold the card together, and it will allow it to flip open and stand up. This was just another backing piece. um, that glued directly to here. I guess that's so you could write on both sides of the card. Again, that's kind of optional depending on how you choose to put it together. I'm going to do this a couple different ways. I've already cut out what I need to do 4 more. At least I think I've cut out everything. And so I'll show you some different options. Um, so I think that's all of the changes that I've made in my file. Again, I won't be sharing this because it is from Melody Lane's projects, and those are her projects. And I will put a link in the comments so that you can find it if you want to subscribe. And you can subscribe for as little as $2, I believe, and get all access to all of her projects, which is wonderful. Um, so anyway, so that's all the changes I made to this. So I'm going to pause the video at this point and set up the camera so that we can start um, recording the assembly, which can be a little tricky. But I think after having done one, it gets a lot easier. At least that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm telling myself. All right. All right. Welcome to my messy, messy, messy work surface and my well-worn Cricut mat. This is an older mat, I believe. Well, I know it is. Um, and I'm currently waiting. I've tried washing these off. You'll see videos where people wash them off and try to reapply stick. It doesn't always work. Well, they hope that it just reignites the sticky, but the problem is you end up washing a lot of that off. I do have a Zig marker on order, um, which if you apply it and then let it dry, it will become, uh, it's tacky, but it's not a permanent tack. I don't know what the word is. I'm sorry. I do not know what my problem is with my words. Um, So I've got a bigger one that's got a much broader head on it that's coming, and I will use it to clean. I'll clean off my mat and then I will re-stick it and see if that'll work. If it doesn't, I'm not too worried about it. I bought a bunch of them in bulk, which really is the cheapest way to buy them from the Cricut website. Um, and I've got probably more mats than I need to last me for years and years to come. But anyway, I do try to get the most mileage out of my mats, and that's why this blue painter's tape is on here. Because if you don't have something that's um, you know, stuck down well enough, it starts moving around as the knife blade cuts into it and the rollers go over it. So you do really want a good tack, whether it's on the mat or whether you're holding it down. And also the material that you're cutting will affect how well it cuts if you don't have a sticky mat. So it is important to have a sticky mat, and this one's really not sticky anymore. So that's why I'm using the tape. There we go. So this was the pad I was talking about, Winter Frost, which is, I've had it for several years, I believe, and it's a cardstock printed with glitter and foil, it says, and it's got some really pretty papers in it. I'll just do a quick flip through here, and I bought 2 of these because I liked it so well. I love blues for Christmas, and blues and grays are okay to as well. So what I noticed as I pulled this pad out was that I had some scraps from my previous projects in week 1 and maybe even 2, I don't remember now, that I thought would be really cute to use in this one. Now these are a little bit narrow, so I'm not going to be able to use those, but these will work nicely as the background for the snow globe. I'm just going to pull up one of my foam pieces here so you can kind of see. This would show through the background. And I actually really like that. I wonder, is it wide enough? Looky there, I'm going to get at least 2 out of that, probably just 2. But I'll get 2 snow globes out of there, except you know what? It's directional. I don't want to cut it that way. I have to cut it this way, on this piece at least, because I want those trees. I don't want them looking like they've fallen over. So I will have to be careful and cut it like this. Let's just do a quick test here. Oh, I think I can still get 2 in there if I line one up that way and one up that way. Oh, that's good. but well, I may not. I may only get one, but that's okay. Could also use this side because I think that's kind of a cute background with a pretty little snowman in front of it. Let's see, I've got a mess of scraps here I'm digging through because oh, here it is. I had mentioned the, what they call it, transparencies, old school office supplies, and that I had run through my laser printer and then foiled. And that other than it's a little warpy from all the heat, um, you can see the snowflakes. I don't know if you can see how the foil on them, but they are foiled. It shows up better and much better in person. Um, but they're kind of big, and they actually ended up covering up well, a good part of my snowman. So I had to kind of set my snowman crooked so his whole face wasn't behind that snowflake. And you can see the little shaker bits in there. So that's what we're going to be putting together today. But as you can see, I've got quite a few layers that are glued together there. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to try to minimize some of those layers today. But then you can see how the card opens up. You can write your sentiment on the inside. Now, I thought about even trying to make this an easel card, and I might still, but not today. So I didn't have the shaker bits I needed, so I just had some pre-cut snowflakes on a pearl paper, and that's what I used. And that's what I'm going to be using in this next one that we're making as well. So set this off to the side. So anyway, these are some of the scraps I've got now. I think this will look really nice in the background because it already says Happy Holidays, Joy to the World, Seasons Greetings, Winter Wonderland, all that. That's pretty, but I don't really think it works for what I'm doing. Um, that's also nice. I kind of really dig that pattern. But then this is really nice too. Actually, we'll probably end up using this one. I love the foils. I'd want it to go this way, I guess. And that actually could be quite pretty. But then this has got the nice snowflakes on it. So I might do one with each of those sides. And then we've got our little foiled dots, which almost look like little mini snowflakes. Let's see if you can see them here. So you could have on one side and then more snowflakes on the other. Now, I don't think I want the ornaments because it doesn't look outdoorsy, but uh, that's a possibility. I'm not sure I love it, so I might just save that piece for something else in the future. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I have enough here to choose from. I don't need that. Now, I made my snowman out of this glittery white cardstock. It's not solid glitter, it's cardstock with uh, some glitter glued on it, so it's not quite as overbearing as a full sheet of glitter, if that makes sense to you. But anyway, that's what we're going to be working with. And let's see, I will use this one because I like that. And I guess I'll use both of those. Oh, I might have to make more of these than I wanted to. Mm, we'll see. I'll just set those off to the side for now. What else do I have here? I think that's all I need to show you for now. So I'm going to hit pause while I assemble all of my goodies, and then we'll come back and actually start assembling the card. All right, I wanted to show you real quick where I taped down or how I taped down my piece of cardstock. And I just, try to make sure it's not going to go anywhere when I am cutting it. So let's see here. Let me switch my camera. I think you can see where it's hopefully cut it out. I struggled to get the right depth on my knife blade, but looks like I did okay on that one. And I just realized what I did. I cut that out wrong. I wanted the solid piece, not this piece. So I don't think I can get another one out of there. Let me think about this for a second. All right, so I didn't cut the right piece. I wanted to cut out the solid piece of the snow globe, and I don't quite have enough. It's about I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch too small. So what I'm going to do is I've reselected the piece that I want. I've moved it to the bottom of the mat so I can just use the same piece of paper or cardstock that I had, and I'm just flipping this over. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure all of the globe shows up behind my snowman. This part down here, if this cuts it off a little bit, I don't really care. So that's why I've done that. So now I'm going to go ahead and do continue again. And that's the one that's selected. And I'm going to do medium cardstock again with more pressure because that did cut nicely. It just didn't, I just didn't have it cut the right part. So got that selected. I'm going to load my mat. All right, so I've cut this out again, and as you can see, it did not go all the way bottom, but that's going to be all right because I'll still be able to line it up and use it. Oh, except that it's upside down. What did I say about it being directional? Yeah, goodness gracious. Well, I guess we're not going to have any cute deer in the background, but that's all right. We will make use of that some other way. And while I was letting the machine do its cutting, I kind of came up with this. I will be able to use these to make a slope for a card front and maybe put some kind of message across there or the snowman or whatever, but I'll still be able to use that. This one, this one I'm going to I'll probably have to cut this up into something smaller since I messed it up, but I do have another whole pad of paper with this on there, so it's not like I can't make more if I choose to. So I'm going to finish cutting some of these out. Hopefully I'll cut them out correctly, um, and I'll be right back. All right, so in the end, I decided not to use this piece because I've got enough going on right now, so I'll just hang on to that for another project. And as you can see, I got some uh, nice scraps left over that I will be hanging on to because I can undoubtedly get something out of those in the future. And as a crafter, I love to obviously craft, which uh, but I also like to save. I'm very, conscientious of the environment. So if I can make something out of it, I will. Now I won't put all of these snowmen together, but I'll put one of them together so you can see how it goes. All right, those are just the extras for the globe. Okay, so initially when I did mine, I forgot to weld the top and the bottom of the snowman. I have gone back and since done that just because it made it, I hope, will make it a little bit easier to piece together. It should. Let's make a little room up there for my extras. So we want to glue, actually I think I want to put the hat together before I start gluing well, maybe I don't. Let's make sure I keep that on screen for you to see. Yeah, so we want to glue the hat, which is also the face and the mouth back here. So I am going to use the back. That way I don't end up getting glue in his eyeballs and his mouth or at the top part of the hat where I don't want it. And then I got to be very careful here to line it up properly. And I got a little bit off, but not bad. All right, so there's our snowman. And let's put his hat together. Get my tweezers because they make it a lot easier for me to hold on to these small pieces. And I always like to do a dry run first, just so I have a better idea of where everything goes. Get us a little glue here. Oops. Just kind of press that down. And we'll get a little piece of our greenery. Somehow in the meantime I've lost, oh, nope, there it is. I got glue on my tweezers. I do tend to get glue everywhere. Okay. Just a little bit of glue. This might even be what's supposed to be the front, but I don't think it really matters. Oh, that's too much. And I just kind of, yeah, that should have been the front, but that's all right. We'll make it work. Except I spun it. Okay, there's his hat. Now, this is where it should have had those two extra little berries, but they would have been so small, I just didn't want to deal with them. Let's put his nose on. Now, you have some options here. You can point his nose down, or you can kind of go up or off to the side, whatever you feel like looks good to you. And then we're going to do his scarf. Now, you could cut this out of one piece, a patterned piece, even if you want. In fact, I accidentally did one um, that's out of a patterned piece. So you could certainly do that if you want, but it's upside down. So, well, I can't use the other side. Well, actually, there's no law that says I can't use the other side. Let's see if it'll fit. Oh, yeah, you could do it that way. So it's backwards. Let's do it that way. So you could just use, I mean, you could just use a solid piece instead of layering it, but let me just add this over here and see if it seems like it might not be the right color, but hmm, interesting. Well, we're going to do, we're going to glue him backwards because I don't want his happy to be upside down. Although, if I put this on top of it, you wouldn't even notice. Okay, let's just put this on top. I know, make up my mind, make up my mind. Oh, I'm going to take the tweezers off of there so I can get a hold of it better. Let that glue sit for a second. So I'm not even going to use this piece right now, but I will use it again for something else. That was kind of a happy accident. Let's see here. Now, get some glue on here. And line him up. Now, I love these tweezers are the self-closing ones, I guess. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they're called, but they're reverse of what we, all grew up with. And they're really nice for holding things because you don't have to pinch them to hold them. But sometimes I forget to pinch them to release. So it's upsides and it's downsides. All right, so that is The nose, the hat is done. So that just leaves our little arms here. I just need 2 of those. And let's see, that's that way. You just kind of figure out where you want them. And then we'll glue them down. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom portion here. Do the same with this guy. Actually, I want it more down there so I don't get tempted to put my glue too high up. I just kind of try to get it as even as possible. That was another change that Melody's guy had. He had mittens, which was just another layer to put together, and I just tried to eliminate some of that, but I sure do think this snowman turned out cute. I love him. I even thought about using a patterned paper for the hat, but I didn't have a pattern that I felt was small enough that it would look appropriate on the hat, but that's just something to keep in mind. You could even emboss it if you wanted to. So our snowman is done. So now let's just get this stuff off of our work area. Oh, looky there, my other green piece came back. Must have been stuck to something. Just trying to keep all that together. So let's glue our base together. And we just need a couple of those. So I'm going to move that out of the way and this out of the way. Now this was an extra one I had cut out in the dark. I might use it. I don't know. We'll see which one I like better after I kind of piece them together. I do like the dark just because I feel like it looks like a wooden base. Let's see what this looks like. Hmm. I think I like the dark better. Um, but I'm going to see, I'm going to show you. Let's see if we can do this with some ink. All right, so I have other inks, but I'm going to grab this Harmony by Spectrum Noir in a Seal Brown, and let's just see if we can't darken this up a little bit. Oh yes, need a lot more ink than that, but yeah. I do have a darker shade over there, but oh, I wrinkled him. But I think this will be all right. And maybe I should even run it through an embossing folder. Maybe I will. So I just took that light brown, kind of almost a greenish brown, in fact, cardstock, which is a really lightweight cardstock, so you do want to be careful when you're blending it. Let's see here. Put the cap on there so I don't get it everywhere. There we go. So this was the original color. Let's get rid of that. That was the original color. This was the darker one I had, and then there you have it, the lighter one. So I'm going to lay these on this inked one. Yeah, I like that better. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pause this for a second while I go and emboss this just to see how that looks, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Took me a minute to find my mini wood grain folder, and I like the way that came out, but it might impact how this stuff glues down. So let's give it a go and see what happens. Which side do I need? That'll work. That glue off my finger. All right, let's glue this in place. Oops. Yeah. There we go. So I think what I will do is I will hold on to this with my tweezers. See if that doesn't help me get it in the right spot the first time out, so that I don't have to try and slide it around. So kind of line up this piece here, and then, yep, didn't work. I mean, it didn't keep me from having to slide it, but all right. Now, I didn't cut out yesterday, and I knew I wasn't, because I wasn't sure yet how I wanted to do it, but I did not cut out the nameplate. Here's an extra one that I had. So I will end up cutting out plates for all of these, but that's the one I have currently. I won't probably use it because I don't want to try to write on the glitter, but we'll see. All right, so we have all of that together. So now we just need to put the card together. So if I glue that, let's see here, what's going to be my, oh, I do want one of these for the front. So I'll put one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start gluing this together, and I've got a layer of cardstock on top, and then a layer of the acetate, and then a layer of the craft foam. And I'll start putting this together. Let's see, it looks like I might need to flip the foam over. Yeah, that looks better. Well, it did. Problem with the foam is it's not very stiff. Nope, I think the foam does need to go the other way. Yeah. All right, so let's start with gluing the acetate down on the foam, I think. Or yeah, let's glue the acetate onto the foam. Okay. So now this part's important because you want to make sure you get a good seal all the way around, because that's what's going to keep your shaker bits inside. And especially if you're using something like glitter. Uh, this is kind of a rough cut here. No matter how well I adhered my foam to my mat, it kind of got chewed up anyway. And maybe that's because it has to go through twice. I don't know. Get cut twice, I should say. Okay, so I've kind of got that roughly lined up. I'm going to peel this back a little bit and just hang on to it. And I'm going to start down here. We're just going to glue all the way around here. Oops. I think my glue's getting clogged up. There we go. Nice little bead. That's too much. See if I can't spread that out a little bit. Yeah, I think I definitely need to unclog. Unfortunately, I can't do that in the middle of gluing this because I need to make sure I get it all glued down. Now I've seen people use foam tape for this as well, like putting foam tape on the cardstock, and you can certainly do that. Um, I think it's going to be a lot of work though, trying to get your foam tape to shape around the globe. I've got a lot of glue here. I'm going to grab a wet wipe. Let's wipe that up. Yeah, smearing everywhere. Yeah, I'll have to clean up my acetate. I got a little too much glue. Just going to lay that like that and let that dry while I clean out my glue bottle or my glue nozzle. Let's see here. Okay, let's just leave that pin in there for a minute. Now the glue should dry clear. Um, I'm tempted to clean it up, but I hate to do that just because I don't want anything to move. Yeah, see, it wants to move, and it will take longer to dry on the acetate. So I'm just gonna try to get whatever that is off of there and set that off to the side for a minute. So let's go ahead and put our backs together. Let's figure out which one we want our snowman on. I do think he's cute on there. Oh, that's not bad either. He stands out really nice on that one. Oh, you know what? I've got him way too low. He should be more up in here, this area. Looks pretty good on there too. And you can see the season's greetings and the Merry Christmas. That was an accident, but that worked out nice. But his scarf matches that one. That's why I didn't want to use that one. So I think that's a little too white. Now, I told you I taped down my cardstock to my mat, and once in a while it'll cut through that tape if I get it too close. But that's okay. I use painter's tape. It comes off pretty easily. And because I'm always in jeans and t-shirts, I just give it a little press to my jean or t-shirt beforehand just to remove any excess stick it might have. And that seems to work pretty well. So I like that, but I feel like he doesn't stand out very well. But he does look good on that. So it's going to be between, we're going to put this guy in one of these two. Hmm. Decisions. I'm going to go with the trees for now. I'm going to go with the trees for now. So this is the back. I'm just going to give that a bend. It's got a score line in it. And to decide if I want to put a backing piece on there, a sentiment. These cards get mailed, and so the thicker they are, the more they cost. And since I'm doing them for the Angel Card Project, I hope to be able to mail out a couple hundred this year. So I really want to, I really don't want them any thicker than they need to be, which was one of the reasons why I tried eliminating some of the layers. All right, so we're going to glue this top flap here. Now, Melody's original file actually has written out glue on it so that you'll know what you're supposed to do with that. I removed that because I was too lazy to get up and grab a pen, and I didn't think I did it. But that is something, if you join her Patreon group, you will notice that's another difference in our files. Okay, let that dry. Make sure we still got a good fold, and we do. Now I opted not to put anything on the back of that just because I think it looks pretty when you lift it up, and I might put one of my Flying Santa snowman die cuts out right there because I think that might look kind of cool. A nice surprise in there, won't it? So we're still kind of waiting on our acetate to dry. That just goes to show you I got way too much glue on there. But for the sake of time, oh, you know what? I do need to glue down this bottom part too. Otherwise, we'll have problems. Well, we could have problems. I don't know for sure that we'd have problems, but we could. Just kind of spread that glue around. So what I wanted to do was get an idea of where I wanted to situate him. And that's definitely too high. So thinking something like that. So basically just above this little point of that tree down there. So we'll go ahead and glue him. I do want to get little bits on his arms here just so they're not flapping around with our shaker bits because they're so flimsy. The shaker bits they'll break his branches. All right, so we were going to go just above that tree there. I'm going to grab my block here, my Stampin' Block, and just hold that all down. Okay, let that sit for a minute. Now, what am I missing? I think, other than my snowflakes, which I will have to pause this to go cut out a few more snowflakes. I don't know if you'll be able to see these. These are just some that I had left over from some stuff I'd cut out before. These little bitty guys. There we go. So I'll put those on the inside. And like I said, I'm going to pause. I'm going to get a drink. And I'm going to cut out some snowflakes. And I'll be right back. All right, so I've managed to cut out some snowflakes. Um, I cut out some of the pearlized paper ones, but this background is so light I didn't feel like they showed up. So I ended up using some light blue ones, and I do have some in various shades of blue. Let's see, I can add a couple more just so they're not all the same color. These are from my stash. So those are the smallest ones I have. So what I ended up doing, I had to clean up my acetate because the glue was just everywhere. And I ended up using eyeglass cleaner on it because plain water just smeared everything around. And to glue the base of it down, I ended up putting on some using the tape runner and then adding a little bit of glue over the top just so that gave me the ability to slide it around a little bit and still make sure it dried faster because the tape will stick. So I'm going to do the same thing to this piece. I'm just trying to get it toward the edges, which I'm not always very good at. And I'm going to try and put some around the edge here. I don't know that I'll be happy with that, but I'm going to try it. Yeah, see, well, it's sticking. It might make a sticky mess because I think it's a little bit wider than the actual cutout. So the downside with the foam is it takes forever, at least on the acetate, to get it to dry. So that is something to consider. Um, had I realized that beforehand, I would have just run this whole piece through my Xyron machine and gave it a sticky back that way. But trial and error is how we learn, right? At least that's how I do it more often than not. So now I'm going to go ahead and add more glue to this. If I can keep it from sticking to, that is. I feel like my glue bottle's jammed up again. Let's try and clear that a little bit. I just kind of angle my pen very slightly to kind of scrape the inside of that nozzle. See if I can scrape out anything that's blocking my nozzle. Okay, let's just try and hold this still. That's a big blob. And I go around this edge as well. I don't want to get so much glue as I had last time that it just took forever for it to dry. All right, so I've already laid my snowflake bits on top. Oops. Oh, man, you don't want to do that. You get glue everywhere. So I just rub my hands together to get it to kind of dry up, and then I brush it off. All right, let's try that again. And let's try to remember that we've got glue on the back. Okay, so I'm just going to slide this off the edge of my desk for a second to help me line it up. Okay. Going to press it all down. Use my block here to kind of help press it down. I think it's lined up pretty good. Yeah. All right. So there you have got our snowflakes, which I shouldn't have maybe piled quite so high right there. There we go. There we go. Got our snowflakes, our snowman, our background, our base. We open it up and there's the Santa and the reindeer I was talking about. It kind of doesn't show up super well, but you can see it. And then we'll put our greeting right there. And we'll add our plate. Now, I had the year on mine, and you can certainly do that. And I might just use a Sharpie to handwrite that in. But you could also write Merry Christmas, um, Happy New Year. I mean, you could put on that plate whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the year. I like it with the year, but you do what you like. So we're going to call it a day. This is already over an hour long. And I'll finish the rest of them up and add a little slideshow to the end of this. I'll include any links that I've mentioned. Um, Again, if you have any questions about anything, just ask. I'm happy to answer them. Um, the angel card project I'm making these for, my goal is a card a day. I'm ahead of schedule, so I'm slowing down a little bit and not doing 15 to 25 a week like I was. And I'm also kind of combining that with remembering Melody. It's been a year since her passing, so I'll put links for both of those organizations and groups in the comments, as well as any supplies I may have used. And like I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe if you want to see future videos, and feel free to share if this is something you think your friends or your Facebook friends want to see. Feel free to share. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time. This was a little bit longer than I intended, but these are a little more complicated than most. So thanks again. Until next time, this is Georgiana. All right, I'm back. I did finish I ended up having to cut out a couple more pieces. Uh, Cricut Maker, I was missing a couple of backs and some other stuff, but I got those cut out. I've got everything put together. This last one is still drying here. I've got it under a block. I came up with a couple of things that I think I'll do differently next time. The acetate, trying to glue the acetate directly to the foam doesn't dry very quickly at all. So what I found did work a little bit better is to put a piece of cardstock, even thin cardstock, on either side of the acetate and then glue that down to the front and back pieces. That did seem to work better. It dried where I didn't have to worry about it slipping around as much. So that was the only other change I would make. Now, I don't have the snowflakes. The sequiny snowflakes. I had some I cut out that I put in this guy. And I don't know if I put them in there too soon or what, but they're all kind of stuck. So, that one probably could have used another layer of, to build up the frame a little bit. Um, this one, they seem to work fine. These were just cut out of a different material and they're different snowflakes, but they do slide around. And then in these last remaining three, I did sequins. I've got, let me show you. I've got this box of sequins here, assorted colors that I got on Amazon, and I will see if I can find that link and list it in the comments below if you're interested. I used the clear iridescent, the white, and then some of the light blue. And that's what I put in there for my snowflake mix, which probably shows up best in the one with the blue background, but it's still drying, so I'm not going to do it. But you can kind of also see it in here. So it just gives them a little, a little effect. Actually, I don't think you can see them that well, but oh, there they go. You kind of see them sliding down. I could have put more, I just wasn't sure. So that is the end of, I think I'm still on 5, maybe it was 6. I don't know. I'm definitely behind of my Project Christmas Cheer for 2023, as well as this is my first Remembering Melody series, and this card is from her pack or her subscription if you want to join, and then you can get her files for as little as $2, I believe. I'm still undecided if I'm going to go back and put a nameplate on, a plate on all of them. I haven't decided yet. I did manage to get my name, my sticker, and my memory of my mother butterfly. I can't talk, but that's pretty normal for me. Let's see. I did find where I had started my cards from previous years, this little flip folder, and I've got a lot of sentiments in here that say Merry Christmas and such. So I may just end up pulling something like this out and laying it on the front. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I have those in reds and greens as well. So, and then I just kind of embossed around the outside edge, just kind of drug it through the Versamark and then sprinkled my powder on it and embossed it. So those are cute. And then I've got some other stuff, but those are the smallest ones that are in this little thing. So yeah, but I've got some others somewhere else. So I will put something else on these remaining 4. I just don't know if it'll be the year. But anyway, I'm going to keep this short. I want to wrap this up. Thanks for joining me. I hope you like these cards. I think they're super cute. There's definitely some things I could and would do differently if I make again. And so I think I probably am going to make them again because my Amazon cart's already got the snowflake pieces in it. Um, but anyway, I think they turned out super cute. And I've got some ideas to kind of make them a little different when I do them the next time. So I hope you like this week's episode. Please, if you did, give me a thumbs up or a like, whatever you want to call it. And I hope you'll stick with me because these cards are for good projects, and I think the Remembering Melody series is going to be worthwhile. She made some really cute cards, and I'll just be putting my own spin on them. So thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting.